Hi everyone, Justin here from Rated Tipsters again with our latest walkthrough video of the service I've just reviewed a few weeks ago, Predictology, which is a football betting service. The findings of my review were that I do not recommend this service. Nonetheless, I wanted to record a quick video to give you a look at the service in action and talk you through some of the issues we found in the review and a bit of a walkthrough on how to actually use their system builder and build your own system. As I mentioned in the review, I'm on a lifetime membership deal with Predictology, so I've been a member of the platform since 2020. So I've got a fair bit of experience using it, having dealt with some of the issues that I talk about in the review for a while. So the first thing to note is that for a new subscriber, there's a lot to get through. It's quite confusing where to start. So they've got a match analysis section with several links, an auto betting section, insights with various articles, tools with different sort of tools to look at. They've got a tip setup page, a goal tables page, this crazy odds page. The link doesn't work for some reason. It still has been up for 4 years or so. In-play alerts. They've got a quick start guide, various support links, a bet tracker, and market movers. So for the purpose of this review, I decided to focus on two main areas of the site, being the system builder and the more recent tool, which is the Value Bets software. So I'm going to start with the system builder in this video, and what I'll do is I'll create a test system to walk you through just what it looks like to actually build a new system. So the first thing you do is you're presented with all the different leagues, separated by winter and by summer. We're going to build a system for the top 5 English leagues, and we're going to look at the seasons. We're going to go back to 5 seasons, and we can look at the betting options. Okay, there we go. So we're going to bet on visitors. You can choose the bet type from a lot of different market types. So we're going to bet on visitors to win, and the odds type is interesting. The 4 options are maximum, average, pinnacle, and Betfair. Now the maximum and average are taken from the pool of 40 soft bookmakers which they scan, so they're not particularly useful in my opinion. So I always use Pinnacle or Betfair. So for this one we'll use Pinnacle, and you'll note that says available from 2020 onwards only. So that's why we've just chosen the last 5 years for this system. Next we choose the odds filters. So for this one we're going to focus on the selection win odds, and we're going to set them between 2 and 3.5. You can set filters for the odds for the draw, lose, double chance, BTTS, around the Asian handicap and various goals markets, but we're just going to focus on our selection being priced between 2 and 3.5. Next, I'll talk about a bit in the review the ELO ratings. I mentioned that the most useful one I've found over the years is the ELO with betting odds. So you've got the ELO standard, shots on target, and betting odds. So, and the other one I like to use is I like to look at the rating difference between the two teams, instead of looking at the overall rating or the rise/fall over the last X amount of games. So we're going to set a minimum rating difference of 10. Oops, not 0.10. 10 minimum, and we're going to use ELO with betting odds. Next, you can choose by the Asian handicap supremacy, which is not something I've used a lot. I've not found it to be very useful, but if you wanted to go down that path, you can go by the overall supremacy, home supremacy, and away supremacy. Next, the most detailed look is the form. So you can filter by overall form, games since, winning sequence. And what we're going to look at is you can look at home form and away form. So we're backing away teams priced between 2 and 3.5. So I'm looking for teams that have a current losing sequence of at least 1 and a current winless sequence of at least 3. So an away team that lost its last away game and has not won for at least its last 3 games, with the logic being that they are maybe due for a win or the market is overreacting to their poor recent away form. We'll go down the list. You can do that for home form as well. Yeah, this is the most detailed sort of thing you can filter by. And then lastly is goals scored or conceded, overall, home and away. We won't set anything for that now. So we've got all our filters set. So we update parameters. That fills everything in there. And then we run selected system. And that shows that, surprisingly, this system has produced over 20 points profit in these 5 years from 259 bets at a 7.9% ROI to pinnacle prices. If we click on view extended analysis, that will give us a bit more detail on the overall system. If the system is producing a profit, it'll give you a rating out of 5 stars. So here our system is 3.5 out of 5. You can use various staking plans to calculate drawdowns, etc. So this just shows the headline stats up here: 260 bets, 20 points profit, 18-point drawdown, almost an 8% ROI for bank growth of 20.59%, with a long winning run of 5, longest losing run 12. And you can drill down into each league, each season to get some further analysis if you like. So that's essentially the system builder in action. You can export the bets. You can look at each league by each season. Export that by Excel. So you can spend a lot of time trying to build systems, test different ideas. Ultimately, I've never really found a system that I've built personally that I'm confident enough to bet in. Things I've tried have then ultimately suffered drawdowns and lost once I've actually started betting them. Like for this one, obviously we'd need a much larger sample of results than 260 bets to have any confidence in actually betting it. And I find things that have a larger sample size will produce a much smaller ROI. And so to get a larger ROI, you have to then add further filters, and then the whole system just becomes completely illogical from the first, different from what the idea you started with. So that's a challenge I've always had with this. Predictology do provide 36 systems ready to go for all members. I think you have to be an annual member, which are there's some issues with these. So the first thing you'll notice here is it shows all 36. Not all of them are actually currently recommended. You can see here monitor, paused, paused. It goes on. This one doesn't even have an actual name. So that's concerning to start with, because all of these systems at one point in time were all recommended. So that shows that 23 of these 36 systems have started performing so poorly that they're no longer recommended to be bet on. And there are some serious issues with a number of these. So I've talked about this in the review, but if to show you a few here, so you go to the page of the model. This is a lay the draw model tailored specifically for Major League Soccer in the US. Yet when you look at the leagues, it's Bolivia, Finland, Japan, and Norway. So, the bets are laying the draw, but it's a completely different system to what the description of the system actually is. You'll notice here we've got an away win model tailored specifically to finding away winners across Europe, yet 3 of the 5 leagues are Asian leagues: Korea, Qatar. So again, that doesn't make any sense. Another one, we've got a back the draw model tailored specifically for laying teams across the major leagues in Europe, yet the selections are backing the draw. And then you've got this one where it's a lay win model, laying teams across the major leagues in Europe, which that's clearly what the system's doing. But here's the results. You could not possibly bet on this system with any confidence over 1,400 bets, and it's at a loss of over 7 points. So one system that actually is accurately described, and here's the results. So I suspect what's happening with a lot of these systems where the description is not matching up with what the system's actually doing is that at one point the model PR16 was a model that was tailored specifically for Major League Soccer in the US. But what happened was most likely the results went south. The model was losing money. So they've completely changed it and replaced it with a new, shiny, better looking model. And they just haven't updated the description accurately. And this is really, we look at a lot of betting services. This is not something you come across where the description of what a service is not actually what you're getting. So of these 36 models, I mean, most of these models have an obvious, just at first glance, you can see there's an obvious issue. There's no reason you would actually trust what the system is saying. So this is a big advertising point for Predictology that new members get access to 36 prediction models, but clearly only 13 of them are recommended, and the ones that are recommended, the vast majority of them, you cannot bet on them confidently. Yeah, that's just a massive negative for the service overall, in my opinion. The next thing I want to take a look at is the value betting software. So I'll run my filters. So they use Predictology, have their own AI algorithm which generates fair odds for home, away, goals, markets, and both teams to score. And it scans the various, dozens of bookmakers, Betfair, Pinnacle, and compares those odds with their models' odds to identify so-called value bets. So that they provide a long guide with a lot of different recommendations for how to best go about setting up your page. So based on all of that, I've set up with these bet types: Betfair, odds range of 1.5 to 4, with a minimum EV margin of between 5 and 10%. The reason I've capped it at 10% is that previously with Predictology's AI algorithm, I've noticed there's often bets with a 50% EV or a really large edge where they've got a team priced at 1.25, and the market has it at on Betfair or Pinnacle at 2.5. So it's like these are obviously not the edge of those bets is obviously Predictology is wrong. So there's some information they're not accurately accounting for. A star player is out, or something is incorrect in how their algorithm is arriving at the price for these bets where there's a massive edge. So and this is part of their recommendation to set a specific EV range. So I've gone with 5 to 10%, and the odds type being Betfair. So what this tool does is it will look at this second game between Frankfurt and Galatasaray. So we've got 1 plus EV bet with Betfair on BTTS no at 2.96, which is a 6% EV bet. For some reason, it shows the average prices across all the bookmakers for all of these. So even this one at 2.72 is supposedly only a 3% negative 3% EV, even though Betfair you can back it at 2.96. Anyway, so there's lots of bets available at any one time. So we scroll down, we can see over 2.5 here at 1.63, over 3.5 at 2.54. This game we've got BTTS yes 2.1, 2.4 on this game. The home odds 3.25, and it shows you the EV for each bet. So I tracked these bets, placing real bets on Betfair for a number of weeks, and the results we had were not good. 326 bets. This is straight from the review I posted on our site. 326 bets for a loss of over 40 points and an ROI of minus 12.34% at average odds of 2.24. And I should also mention that is before removing any Betfair commission from the winning bet. So the actual results are actually a little bit worse than that. You can see the graph, there's not a lot really going for it. It's quite bad. And filtering by the actual market type, they're all losing as well. So the only conclusion to draw from that is that the Predictology algorithm is not able to more accurately predict the chance of these events occurring than what the sharp bookmakers and even the soft bookmakers really. It's the market is far more accurate than Predictology, and really they might say you should filter around with your odds range or your margin, look at different bookmakers, but really I think it's quite clear from this number of bets to be running at over 12% loss that the AI algorithm produced by Predictology is not accurate, and this also aligns with my previous experience using their AI algorithm. They've had that in various forms. It's constantly being tweaked, but it's been available on the site since I was a member back in 2020, and I've never found it to have an edge over the market. So that covers basically what I've looked at in the review. We talked through some other issues about the Discord channel being shut down for no real valid reason. There's constant on-selling throughout the site, like here, an upgrade opportunity to add 99 betting models to your system builder. But when we've gone through the issues with the actual, the 38, what is it, 36 models actually available to members, I'm not sure why anyone would buy another 99. Even with these models themselves, they sell an upgrade opportunity to get the specific rules of the systems, but I don't. How do you know what are you getting the rules for the old system, which was tailored for Major League Soccer, or the new one, which is betting on in South America, Europe, and Asia? And in any case, I'd question how useful knowing these rules would be anyway, because inevitably this system will experience a downturn and it'll be removed and replaced eventually anyway. So that that sums up my experience with Predictology. It's not a service that I recommend. There are much better football betting services out there, even other sports, horse racing. If you're looking to spend money on a betting subscription, check out our site at Rated Tipsters, and you'll find many services that we fully recommend. So thanks for watching, and we'll chat again soon. Thank you.